Hey guys, how are you doing? Now we're back in my Groove Talk session, and today's guest star is my friend from Russia. Wow, another part of the globe, very far, huh? And his name is
So much far.
Alex. So much far, Alex Zavolokin. Am I right? Zavolokin?
Zavolokin, right. Perfectly
Zavolokin.
said.
Okay, Zavolokin. Yeah. I
Right,
wish
right.
I wish I could speak Russian. Huh? Okay, we'll talk about something about bass and about you know everything about the music, and especially from
Gear.
yeah, especially from Russian perspective as well. So here, me and Alex, we did a online collaboration weeks ago during the pandemic, and that brought us to the Zoom session because when I checked Alex in his Instagram and Facebook and even YouTube, I'm just amazed at how well and how profound he's playing his bass. So I guess he will fit my session to talk here, right? So you can tell about how did you start playing bass or music in general?
It's a long story.
Hmm.
Everything started from the piano. At the age
Whoa.
of 6, my parents took me to the music school. Because in usually school we don't have music lessons like an instrument.
Yeah.
We have to go to another building and to study theory, instrument you choose,
Hmm.
sing in the
Hmm.
choir,
Hmm.
and the history of music.
Oh.
So from the 6 till 13, I started piano playing, but
Oh
at the age
wow.
of 12, I began to feel the passion for rock music.
Yeah.
And my dad said, "Man, let me teach you guitar."
Uh,
And he showed me some chords, some basic elements, and then I started to practice for myself to transcribe by ear. I
oh.
had an absolute pitch, so I can easily hear what note is playing, and it took some years to learn a lot of songs by Beatles and
Hmm.
Led
Hmm.
Zeppelin,
Hmm.
Iron Maiden. At the time, I was a teenager, and we all like some hard rock and heavy music because we were young and passionate. So it it inspires us to grow, to practice more and more, to learn more songs and
Yeah, yeah.
grow as musicians.
So you're saying that your parents do play music? They play music. Your
Yeah, my father played piano and guitar.
oh
He wasn't a
wow.
professional musician, but
Oh
he,
oh.
he had a gift, a good ear, and a voice. And my grandfather too, he had
Okay.
ability for music. So they influenced me to start. And then, as most of us do,
Yeah.
listen and try to play the
Yeah.
song you like,
Yeah.
songs
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
moves you, that inspires you to take guitar and spend more and more hours practicing.
Yeah. So you have a perfect pitch, yeah? You said?
Yeah, I can easily
Uh,
hear what note is sounding and can
wow.
pluck it on the instrument. So this really helps
Hmm.
to learn more material, and also in
Yeah.
band playing, when you hear what chord is keyboard playing
Okay.
pressed right now, and or what guitar is playing, and the drums. When you play in a band, you have to listen very attentively each of your partner.
So
What is
per
he doing? What is he playing? And to adjust your playing to
yeah.
the all ensemble feel.
So a perfect pitch, and then with the skill of piano skill, oh, that's gonna be so perfect for
Yes,
a bass
basic
player.
basic theory. It really helps. The
Yeah,
intervals, chords, some
yeah,
some this basic stuff.
yeah. That's good.
Later, some years later, I studied in a music college and then Academy of Music. This began the professional education, and also playing in the bands, in the big bands, some musical job, circus orchestra and casinos, playing with pop stars, all this stuff, playing in wedding bands. I think it's traditional for all countries.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you're
Some
saying,
tours.
mhm.
Mhm.
So you're saying you have you had a chance to get a professional music education
Right, right.
in bass department or general music?
Bass
Bass. Okay.
and bass guitar and double bass also.
All
It
right.
was like a
Mm-hmm.
second instrument. We all have
Mm-hmm.
to study too.
Is that for 4 years?
4 years,
Okay.
4 years in the college and then 4 years in academy.
Oh wow, so it's totally 8 years, huh?
Yes, yes, and
Yeah.
even it was another music school for 2 years before entering the college.
Oh
At the
wow.
age of 15, I entered this school and 2 years studied with a bass guitar with a teacher and also playing in a big band. It was a good experience, you know. First, you don't understand what is going on, but then your ears began to hear the harmonies and you just memorize how music sounds, and it gets you closer to what is going on and
Yeah.
how to play it. So it was a great experience. It really helped to grow musically, and the way to continue was obvious.
Yeah, because the music itself is very interesting subject, and musician is very interesting, you know, profession because some people
Mm.
say you don't have to get, you know, I mean, you don't need to get the music college or you know bass college. You know, as like Victor
Mhm.
Wooden, he doesn't get any formal education. Even
Mhm.
Jaco Pastorius,
Mhm.
he didn't have to. But some people, some great players, they attended Berkeley College, let's say in America, right? So, what do you say
Right.
about official, you know, education in music? You think you think it's needed or it's a must or what?
You know, if you're gonna be a professional, you
Hmm.
surely need it
Hmm.
because you have to have a skill to read music, to
Mm,
improvise, to play in different styles, to play a rock
mm,
or ballad or funk or reggae, whatever.
yeah.
So this what brings education. One more thing, the community. When you study
Ah,
with people, you
yeah, yeah,
communicate, you play in a bands, and in the future life, you
yeah,
work together in some
yeah,
projects
yeah,
or tours. You know, this is a very important
yeah.
part of it. But if you know, if somebody wants just to play at home,
Hmm.
to have normal work, office, or whatever, and these people usually don't have to get an education just to learn their songs and to play for fun. You know, we call this category sofa musicians. There are a lot of this. So they take lessons, you know, they are our clients.
Uh-huh,
So they
uh-huh.
take lessons, we study, but they don't want to dig into harmony, theory, all this stuff, just to
Okay,
learn some songs and have
okay.
fun.
Have
So
fun.
for these people, education is not necessary, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
for professionals, it is.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds good. I agree with that. So,
Mhm.
so you think that that's very helpful to your professional music career, then, yeah? The education.
Yeah, 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 for sure, for sure.
Okay, which part of Russia do you play? You said Moscow or any other city?
Moscow, I live in Moscow, the capital, the center of Russia. But you know, I have to travel. Our country is big enough.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of cities and regions from east to west. You know, and our country is also sometimes called Eurasia because it's between Europe and Asia, and also it
You.
blends
Yeah,
some
yeah, yeah.
cultural traditions. You know, from east and west as well. So you know, we musicians, we always have to travel for some parts. Sometimes in Europe, I also been in Asia, in Singapore, in Turkey,
Oh wow.
United Arab Emirates, and
Mhm.
Qatar. A lot of countries outside of our
Yeah,
city.
you're mentioning Beatles, Led Zeppelin, and everything. So there is a
Yeah.
much Western influence in
Mhm.
Russia as well, right? Western.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All kinds. You know, in 1991, when the Soviet Union broke up,
Yeah.
we got a lot of new music because
Ah,
before there was a kind of iron curtain, and very few people could hear music from other countries. Only
okay.
the few ones that had to travel to other countries. But You know, sometimes they bring the tapes and people change it, copy, and the youth know what is in Britain, what music is United States. You know, it. But the government was afraid that
Ah,
young people would be too free,
yeah.
so they won't let people to hear what is on the East and West. But
Okay.
in
Interesting.
91, all music is available. All two rock stars and jazz stars start to tour here. We had a live concerts, you know, summer festivals, everything.
So the music
So
revolution starts in 1991.
yeah,
The
yeah,
music
for sure.
revolution.
Revolutions, yes, 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 you're right.
Okay,
And
that's
then
a
the internet bring a lot of
yeah,
information as
yeah.
well.
And nowadays, I believe that it's easier to get new music, to see live performance in YouTube there in Russia, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And YouTube
Hmm.
and Google Music,
Yeah,
Apple,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
any streaming service, you know, is available.
That's correct. So one question now I'd like to ask you is, you know, now we have a new history is happening now. Let's say
Mhm.
that now there is a music pre or before COVID pandemic, and now we're
Mhm.
entering the music era during the pandemic, and we don't know
Mhm.
yet about the music after the pandemic. What are you saying about that?
You know, these 3 months were hard enough because no tours, no gigs,
Mm,
only. But you know, online teaching helps us. The one who have students, they continue to teach using Skype or any other
yeah.
messenger, and sometimes studio recording
Mm,
sessions. When somebody calls, please record based on my song. That's okay. This kind of jobs were available and still available. It helps to survive, to keep some income. You know, this month in July, the clubs are open again, the
ah,
bars are open in our country, so people start to work, not as
mm,
much as before, but step by step.
okay.
I think it's coming, and from 1st August, the big concerts can take place with audience less than 3,000 people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's limited audiences.
Leave it others now, you know. But we all hope that from September and so on, in the fall of the year, it all comes back to touring and all this active job
How
for
did how
musicians.
did you react when the first time you heard about the lockdown, the quarantine era?
Oh, it was bad news, you know. Everybody was shocked,
Yeah,
shocked a little. You know, it's hard to get when you play over the years, over
yeah,
decades, and you have to sit at home.
yeah.
Very bad.
How did that change your
But
routine? I mean, the practice session, how did that change your routine?
you know, this brings some good elements. You know, more time to practice,
Okay,
more time to record some collaborations, some
yeah.
original songs.
I saw that collaboration.
Yeah, yeah.
So many of you.
We did a lot of it,
Yeah, yeah.
and this time really helps to get it together, to edit the video, you know, to mix the audio together, because it takes hours and hours of work. And this month it was possible to do.
Hmm. Hmm.
And
So,
of course, to spend time with the family, also a good thing, because
yeah, yeah, yeah,
we're always out of home,
yeah,
out of town, you know.
yeah. That's the kind of musician that a family needs to play at home.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'd like to know about the social security for musicians there because I did an interview with my friend from UK, London. So yeah, basically it's pretty much the same in every country for
Mhm.
musician that the
Mhm.
once the lockdown era comes, They're just locked up inside of their homes. They couldn't do any work, and then but let's say in UK they're lucky because they have social security from the government. The government paid them some money, and it's like more than
Mhm.
50% of their income. So it's very helpful. Helpful. What about you in Russia? Is there any scheme like that?
No, no, we got nothing from government, you know. But the musicians who work officially in schools or
Oh
colleges
yeah,
who study,
yeah.
they continue to work, but in online. Their teaching and the exams also were online. Every students have to record their pieces and theory. They also connect with the teacher and answer the theory
Yeah.
exams, you know. But so we continued work, but online. What about gigs and tours? It is no official, so government don't get any taxes from us, so
Oh.
they won't give us any money, you know.
Okay, 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 okay. So pretty much same with the Indonesian musicians then, because we don't get
Hmm.
anything from the government
Hmm.
for the
How
self-employed
is now?
musician.
How are you now? Are the bars are open? Clubs are open
Yeah,
now?
yeah, it starts opening, but not many cafes yet because the
Hmm.
formal
Hmm.
regulation is still, limiting the cafes to open.
Hmm. Hmm.
So maybe August it's getting normal again, but not normal, new normal, new kind of
Hmm.
normal. So yeah, we've been waiting for that news though.
Yeah, we hope
Yeah.
it gets back.
Yeah, it gets better. Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Hmm.
now I'd like to know about. Now let's talk about the gear that we love. Yeah, the bassist loves is
Hmm. Yeah,
gear,
yeah, yeah.
gear related subject or topics. What basses are you using now at the moment?
Uh, I've got 6 or 7 basses now,
Oh,
and they are sound different for
mm-hmm,
different bands. You know,
mm-hmm.
I like semi-acoustic bass with flat wounds, like the one
Okay,
that used by John Patitucci on Thundercat. This type of soft, soft, smooth sound with a rich bass.
the hollow bass,
I'll, yes, a
hollow body bass, semi hollow.
semi-hollow body bass.
Yeah, yeah,
This instrument is available, and also fretless bass. I play F bass, Alan Caron
yeah.
model. He's one of my
AC6.
heroes. AC6, you play this one.
Yeah,
It's nice. It's great dynamic
yeah, yeah,
response. How much you put it,
yeah.
so much he gets you back.
Very responsive
And
bass.
very responsive, and it's sensitive
Yeah,
to
yeah,
any note you
yeah.
play and
Mm-hmm,
any amount of attack
mm-hmm,
you're putting.
mm-hmm.
And also I've got 2 Yamaha basses. I love
Yeah.
the TRB 1006 model. One of them is with custom built maple neck and another electronics. It can sound close to the jazz bass sound. That's
Okay.
I like amount. This Marcus Miller type of sound. There is a
Mm-hmm.
something like that. And another TRB is stock, but it wired into passive and got flat wounds on it. One more instrument is acoustic fretless bass. It sounds very close to upright. I
Mm.
love this kind of sound. Jazz plays sometimes some jazz gigs on it. And of course, the vintage Fender jazz bass,
Oh wow.
78 or 79,
Mm.
it's I use it mostly for
Mm.
recording sessions because the sound engineers love this classic tone. It
Yeah.
fits any kind of when you
Yeah.
play pop or rock or soul, funk. It fits any genre of music. And sometimes I use it on funk gigs, funk jams, where we have to groove and to slap. Sometimes it's perfect for this goal.
Do you use a preamp for the jazz bass, the Fender jazz bass recording or live stage?
It got built in Bartolini TCT preamp. So
Oh.
in live situations, I usually use it active. It
Okay.
gives much more brightness and bass tone, so it's perfect for slapping and all this stuff.
Oh, so you installed the preamp on the bass, so it's not passive
Mhm.
anymore, huh?
It got switch
Oh, it
active
gets switched.
passive, so
Okay, all right.
it can
Yeah,
deliver its original tone. I
yeah,
usually
yeah,
use it for recording,
yeah.
passive, and active for live playing.
That's perfect situation. Yeah. So, what's
Mhm.
your favorite bass? The most favorite one that you play mostly?
Oh, they all favorite, you know.
Your favorite.
One day you need one, next day
Yeah,
you need
yeah,
another
yeah,
one.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's good to have several of them. You know,
yeah.
like a lot of players, like top, they have collection of guitars, 100 or 500 guitars. You know, I think it makes sense for just the mood you're in. If
Hmm.
you in a Fender mode, okay, you get Fender. If you're in a Gibson, you take Gibson or whatever.
I saw you fluently play six-string bass. Is there any special moment when you're really working on your six-string bass skill?
You know, six is my favorite combination
Mm,
because you have
yeah,
low notes
the lowest
like
notes.
synthesizers, and also you have high notes
Yeah,
when for solo chord playing
yeah.
and all this stuff. I started to play six-string basses very long ago in 2003
Wow.
because I was fan of John Patitucci, and
Mm,
later I discovered Alan Caron, Adam Nitti, all these guys that
hmm.
do magic on six strings,
Yeah.
and I fell in love with instrument, and since that, the most played instruments are six string.
You think it's a
Sometimes,
yeah? You wanna say something?
yeah, sometimes I use four string Fender, but you know the best way to express yourself is to have six string
Ah,
in your hands.
yeah. I forgot this question now. Uh,
Mm, sorry.
I mean, is there any special approach when you play six compared to four or five-string bass? Is there any
Mhm.
special approach that you have on the
I
six-string bass?
don't think so because the tuning is equal. The intervals between strings are the same.
It's normal tuning, yeah?
So
It's normal tuning, yeah?
normal tuning on
Okay.
fourths. You know, nothing special.
Not like Andrew Guse, a whole step down for his six-string
Yeah,
bass.
yeah. The gospel guys like to the whole step down.
Okay.
It makes sense, you know. If you try to tune down, this timbre is real different.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
sometimes, of course, sometimes I tune the E string to D if you got song in D minor or D major. So it's
Mm,
good to have open D,
yeah,
like you know Marcus does the Blast song. You know,
yeah.
he uses drop D
Yeah,
tuning.
yeah.
Sometimes you can experiment. And when you play four strings, sometimes tune down to C, the
Ah,
fourth, the E down to C when you got song
mm.
in C major or something like this.
E
Sometimes I do it, but
E
you
to
have
C.
when you play six, you don't have to tune a lot.
E to C is a long way, huh? E to C is a
Mhm.
long way.
E to C, yeah, yeah. But sometimes it works, you know, it sounds good.
So between double bass, the upright bass, and the electric bass,
Mhm.
how many gigs that you get from each of the bass?
Mhm.
You think it's more
You
for?
know, most gigs are or electric, but
Uh-huh.
sometimes some gigs require acoustic bass. I'm not a big fan of it because it's heavy,
Yeah,
it's hard to
yeah,
carry, and also to play. The action is higher and the
yeah,
range is not so big. It's hard to express the
yeah,
ideas for
yeah,
me. But
yeah,
some band situations require
yeah.
double bass, and if you wanna be hired, so it's good to have one at home to be able to play more gigs. So
Hmm,
it's good
hmm,
thing when you play acoustic and electric as well.
hmm, hmm. Did you have any chance to get a cruise gig in cruise ship?
Uh, you know, in 2005 we worked in Germany for 3 months on cruise, but it
Ooh,
was not like cruise ship. It was just uh, every night it was touring on a river Rhine and then go back. So we lived in hotel, and then bus took
ah,
us to
I
the ship.
see,
We
I
played
see.
show and go back to
Yeah,
hotel.
yeah,
So
yeah,
this
yeah.
was 3.5 months. It was a big show. It was a lot of dancers, singers, you know, acrobats from China, some artists from France and US. So kind of international team. It was
Okay,
real
okay.
fun,
Yeah.
fun, and we have a lot of time. And the good thing also, you have, you know, every daytime you have free time for practice or go to the gym, you know, to cook.
Ah.
So you have to you have more ability to plan your practice routine, to learn some new material, work on songs, on phrases. This really helped. This period really helped me to grow, to learn a lot of new material in music. Because, you know, in our usual life, we every day we go rehearsal somewhere else, students. So we can't plan our time because every day is different and
Yeah,
schedule is different every week also.
yeah, yeah.
But when you work on cruise ship, you have, you know, this is 4 hours a day I can devote to bass and music lessons, theory, all this stuff.
What is your advice for for keeping or getting the cruise gig? What is your advice? Best advice?
You know, some of my friends work on regular cruise ships. It's the first and the most, I think, important is to read music, because when you go to audition, they
Yeah,
give you the sheet of paper and
yeah.
you have to read,
Sight reading,
see
yeah.
just one side and play.
Uh-huh.
So this is the first required quality. And of course, you have to know some songs,
Uh-huh.
popular hits of
Mhm.
70s, 80s, maybe 90s, some pop or soul hits. You know, it's good for musicians to know this material, because in live situations it required too. And
Mhm.
also the knowledge of English. You know, it's kind of international
Yeah.
language, and in every country you go, people can understand you. You can understand the people who speak English. So I think these three qualities the, the most important.
Yeah. Any fun experience that you've had during your cruise ship gig? The most interesting
No, it was everyday fun, you know. Some
everyday
we
fun.
have everyday fun, some a lot of jokes and you know, stories. But it's hard to remember any any special, because every day we have a lot of fun. We were
That,
young.
that's the privilege for a musician. Every time we play, we have fun.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. When I started working at age of 17, I work in circus orchestra, and my mother said, "Man, you're so lucky. You got holiday every day. You
Yeah,
go
yeah.
on a job, but you see the holiday. You see children laughing and being happy. So you got holiday every day."
Yeah, yeah. Now let's go back to the Moscow music scene. If you don't mind, could you share about the music scene there? Like, I mean, my subscribers maybe of for Indonesian friends also they'd like to know about the music scene there in Russia or in Moscow,
Mhm.
especially about how much could you make there for a session player playing in a cafe or in a gig in a single gig
Mm,
for the average.
uh, I understand you. So there is clubs and there is
Ah,
the clubs are five or
in
four or five jazz clubs in Moscow,
Mhm.
and but not every band can play in clubs. You know,
Yeah,
now the art directors prefer the bands who bring more audience. You know, this
yeah,
kind of commercial
yeah,
stuff. Uh, so not every band can play
yeah.
in club, but there are jam sessions every day, so you can go on jam and to play with your friends. So it is available. It's 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago it started. The clubs were open, the bars were open, so the jams continue. Mm. What else? Besides clubs, some musicians can play in wedding bands, to play on the parties, jubilees, weddings, like that. Some musicians play with pop stars, where they got touring, mm, and it also can bring nice income. And teaching, yes, some got private students, some of musicians work in the music schools. It's also good for a lot of musicians, because they can teach at daytime and perform at evening time.
Yeah, let's say in UK, my English friend, he said that playing one gig, it's gonna pay him about 120 US dollar, and that's, I think, the same rate in Indonesia as well. We could reach that price in one gig. Does that apply also in Russian music scene?
Mm, it depends on how much audience is
Ah,
in the club, because they buy more tickets, so musicians can get more money.
oh, so it's varying, yeah,
So,
it's different.
it's varying, yeah. Sometimes it's $50, sometimes it's $100.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
It differs,
yeah, yeah.
from time to time.
Hmm.
Mhm.
That's very nice. Do you have any international festival? Like, let's say we have Indonesian has the Java Jazz International Festival.
Java
Have you
Jazz.
ever heard of that? Many great
Mhm,
international artists are coming. Chikorea with his band,
mhm.
Electric Band, 2 3 years ago. I watched the first time.
Wow,
Yeah, first time
wow,
Nathan
you're
is.
lucky.
Yeah, first time Nathan is subbing for John Patitucci
Mhm,
in
mhm.
Chikorea Electric Band was in Java Jazz.
Oh, I saw these
Yeah, yeah,
videos.
yeah.
Yeah.
I watched
It's
that.
mhm,
I heard you
mhm.
have Russia has that international jazz, right?
Yes, yes. We got some festivals, and one of them is Triumph of Jazz. It's in February. It's 15 years. Uh, this takes place for 15 or more, 17 years in
Oh,
Moscow.
uh-huh.
We got a lot of stars this year. The John Scofield group and Spyro Gyra, and Federico Malaman, the bass player,
Yeah, Federico Malaman,
also had to,
Italian
but
guy.
because of pandemic, he
Ah,
had to stay at home. But Spyro Gyra performed in our fest, and every year is different. Some big bands or some quintets, quartets from US or Europe is coming for sure. So there
mhm.
is 2 or 3 festivals. Also have the summer open air festivals
Ah,
as
yeah,
well. But this summer it was cancelled,
yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah, yeah.
But I hope next year
Mm.
it all continues.
What's the best show you've ever had in your life in Russia? The best live show
Mhm.
that you've ever had? You think you have that
Uh,
kind of experience?
I think it's a
That you,
playing with American musicians. I have opportunity to play with Eric Marienthal,
oh,
saxophone
wow.
player from Chikorea
Yeah, yeah,
Electric
yeah.
Band, and also the Dave Cole saxophone player, Jeff Lorber keyboard,
Mm-hmm.
and Will Kennedy, the
Yeah,
drummer from
whoa,
Yellow
wow.
Jackets. This experience was amazing. These guys are so great that you start to play better than you can, and every gig you
Yeah.
play, the next one is better than the
Mm-hmm.
previous. So we had a short tour of 5 gigs, and I think this was one of the highlights in career.
Yeah, yeah. What was that occasion? What occasion was that? When? What occasion?
It was we played in Moscow 1908. We played in Moscow, we played in Moldova, we played in Ukraine, I guess, in Kiev, mm, and somewhere else. So it was a 5 gigs tour, but it's still I still remember every day, every gig, like it was yesterday.
So it was a band, one band. You were with them always.
Yeah, yeah, 3 of us, 3 guys
Ah.
from Moscow and 3 from US,
Oh,
and
wow.
we
It's
get together.
collaboration. Yeah. Okay.
Collaboration, yes, we did 2 rehearsal and play their songs, and they play our songs.
Oh, wow.
So
You
we
have
have a
some
lot of
videos?
fun, and
You have live footages for
yes,
that? You can send me.
Yes, yes,
Or
yes, for sure. I'll send you.
okay, okay, that would be nice. Yeah. All
Hmm.
right. So what's your okay? What's your current project that you're working on? Your current project right now?
Hmm.
Any projects?
I'm involved in 2 or 3 projects now with original materials. So we're recording stuff, and mm, soon next month in August we'll have a gig of presentation our new CD. And also I'm working on my own project. We've got 1 album, and now we've got a lot of new pieces for next album, what we're working at. And we also perform. Usually we perform monthly in Moscow clubs. So in August we also have planned to play again after all these months. uh, and also I'm also involved in some commercial projects as well. So to work to survive. And as we all know, we need to practice.
Yeah.
A lot of things that we would like to learn, some new, some to improve improvisation skills and work on modes. Now I'm working on diminished
Mm,
more mode because it's harder than usually
mm,
like
mm,
Ionian, Dorian
mm,
scales. They are
mm,
easy, but
mm,
diminish is quite weird, and it
mm,
takes a lot of time to work on it
mm,
because it includes 4 triads, 4 major triads, and you can build phrases using this, or 4 minor triads, or 4 diminished triads. So it's weeks and months of interesting exploration.
mm,
So I like to explore this and try to build own phrases like all our heroes. We can and stay there. This is Nathan, or this is Marcus, this is John Beducci. Everyone has its own style, its own voice. So it's good for each of us
yeah.
also to work on our own phrases and try to sound like no one
Yeah.
else, but like individual. you know.
Yeah. Speaking of your bass heroes, is there any heavy influence that you have for the first musical years that you had?
When I started, it was the music in general. It was not the exact
Basis.
people basis, but it was bands like I
Okay.
mentioned, and the Beatles
Okay.
and
Wow.
Zeppelin and Iron Maiden, and then even I learned a lot from Metallica from
Whoa.
this music. But later, when I studied at school and college, I discovered John Petitucci,
Mm-hmm.
then Marcus, the Victor Wooten,
Mm-hmm.
Stanley Clark, and all these guys blew my
Yeah.
mind
Yeah.
how they do.
Yeah.
When I first heard, I don't understand how they do, but it sounds so great. So
Yeah.
I began to study, and to go into what they do, what is harmony, what is melody, what is blues and bebop and all this stuff. So more and more, the more music you listen, the more you discover great players you discover, and not only basses. And I also like guitar playing, like Pat
Mm-hmm.
Metheny,
Pat Metheny, yeah.
some jazz guitarists, because the things that they play, we can
Ah,
apply on bass too. So
interesting.
using some fingerings
Mm-hmm.
and the phrases, they also work on bass as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Interesting.
Chuck Loeb, the foreplay, the
Yeah.
band what we love. Lee Ritenour, Chuck Loeb, the guitar player, his solo CDs are also sound so great, and his playing is outstanding.
Yeah.
He can play in bebop, he can play soul, he
Yeah.
can play with drive, some bluesy rock
Yeah.
solos.
They're versatile, yeah.
Uh, he's real versatile. What
Mm-hmm.
uh, the bass players also is Gary Willis. Speaking about fretless, of course, we can name Jacko, the first who popularized the fretless.
Yeah.
Jacko, Gary Willis, Alain Caron, Then Tom Kennedy from
Oh, wow,
the
I like
Winkle
that.
Band,
I like that guy.
outstanding player. So
Yeah.
I learned a lot from his
Is
approach.
a very underrated bass player, Tom Kennedy. He plays amazingly.
Yes, yes, and he approaches electric like upright,
Yeah,
so his
yeah,
fingering are
yeah,
close to upright. Maybe
yeah,
you
yeah.
notice he uses a lot of open strings and play
Uh-huh,
phrases
uh-huh.
across the open strings. It
Yeah,
really helps to use sweep technique, legato, all the stuff
uh-huh.
that helps playing. Brian Bromberg,
Oh,
also
yeah,
one of my here, he uses so lot of basses and everyone sound amazing in
yeah,
low ones and piccolo basses, with guitar sounding upright. He's a real master of upright bass too.
yeah, yeah.
Adam Neaty,
Uh-huh.
Nathan East, Gary Granger,
Yeah.
funky slap guy.
Uh-huh.
He played with Caulfield and Dennis Chambers. You can see. Uh, Also, I have an opportunity to heard him live, and he groove amazingly.
Oh, yeah.
Melvin Davis, maybe you know
Melvin
that.
Davis, my favorite
Melvin
guy.
Davis.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
seven
amazing.
string bass. Six is not enough.
Yeah, and 5 and 6 and 7, everything. He slaps like a god, and
Yeah,
7
yeah,
strings
yeah,
can.
yeah,
Very interesting guy.
yeah,
He performed 2 years ago with Lee Ritenour in
yeah,
Moscow,
yeah.
and I also heard
Yeah, yeah, I saw
have a
him.
chance to hear it live, so it's killing. It's
He visited Java Jazz Festival several times with Lee Ritenour as well. Melvin
hmm
Davis, yeah.
hmm
Yeah,
hmm
great, great. Oh, is there any Russian musician or bassist, especially that if like me, a foreigner, I'm asking you, who is the best bassist right now or used to be in Russia? If I would like to know.
we got 5 or 6 bass players which can consider top ones,
Uh-huh.
uh, which are virtuosos and playing jazz fusion. So they all great and they all sound different. There's no two same
Yeah.
players. Everyone has each own his own style and sound and approach to music. So that's what I like about our musicians. So everyone is individual.
What are the names? Could you mention the names? Some names?
I would name Anton Garbunov.
Anton
He's
Garbunov.
older than me, and he began to record his solo CD 17 or 20 years
Oh,
ago.
long
And when
time
I
ago.
was a student, we came to the club and we listened. Whoa, this guy can
Yeah.
do this. He can slap. He can play fretless and
Yeah.
all this stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's real was a great example of for me and for a lot of young players as well.
Is he still around? Is he still playing or Anton
Yeah,
Garb?
yeah, for sure. He playing with his bands, recorded new albums. Some of them electric, some of them more acoustic sound with folk instruments. It's also interesting fusion of genres. When you bring some folk instruments with acoustic and electric mixed together,
Hmm.
it can sound very original. But it's a good thing when players like us bring their cultural
Yeah.
folk melodies and arrange it in new way. So this can sound really
Yeah.
interesting.
Okay. One interesting question. Is there any unique traditional Russian music that you could apply in your bass playing? Any
Yes, for sure. We got a lot of folk songs.
ah
Tradition. They most of all are not instrumental, but songs with the words and a melody, but they are now nice sounding. They are very simple, very beautiful. So some of our players do the mix with the modern rhythms and arrange it mm, to get some new sound out of it.
is there any special technique that is it called or a special aspect that is it called? The Russian folk music?
Mm,
specific name? Is there
I don't.
or specific?
There is no name, but you know,
There's no name,
there is
uh-huh.
some instruments. For the first instrument, maybe you heard, is balalaika. It's kind of small triangle body, 3 strings, E
Okay.
A A, E E A, 2 strings in unison, and 1 string in a fourth A. So there are some balalaika players that really can do magic on these instruments. And also one of the ancient instruments is named gusli. It's a string instrument. It's multi-string instruments. It's they are horizontally situated, and when you pluck, you mute some of the strings and the mute with left hand and pluck with right hand. So you got chords and very very unique sound.
It's like the Chinese traditional music instrument. It's called gucheng. Huh? Is that like that? With many strings, with many strings.
Many strings. You know, every culture has the same different names, but the very close construction.
Very nice. Okay. Any last message for our friends worldwide during this pandemic era? Because you know some musicians start thinking about changing their profession, leaving their music job because of the hard times, the crisis that we're facing, and we don't know about the future, what the future may hold. So, well, any advice, any you know inspiration that you could give to them?
You know, some of my friends got the new job for this month. One of them even work at ice cream factory.
Oh wow!
But anyway, we are musicians. It's in the blood.
Yeah.
It's what we were born for. So keep on keeping on, and we hope that we'll get back to the normal life soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
So I think the best thing is to continue to develop our skills, our playing, our musicality, and also to teach young people to share experience we have with young musicians to help them grow. I think that's the best we can do on this planet.
Yeah. I agree with you, Alex. Thank you. It's been very nice. It's been very great talk and chat with you in this channel.
Thanks for inviting, Rama.
Yeah, thank you for giving me time to get in touch with you, and I'll you know, I wish you success there in Russia and wherever music scene you're working on, and hopefully
thank you.
The crisis will soon
you
know disappear, and we can play normally again. So yeah, let's keep in touch. I'll see you and talk to you soon. Thank you, Alex.
See you. Good luck, man.
Yeah,
See
thank you.
Okay.
Okay.